Okay, so I did a full recording on these browser tools right now, but unfortunately I didn't know the audio went off and it was not being recorded. So okay, we'll talk about it once we are on the basic HTML stuff, so that we don't waste more time. Let's just jump right in. So let's create a HTML file here, new file, we'll call it index.html. Okay, so we have this here. So code editor can give us a sample HTML code. So if you press Ctrl spacebar on your keyboard, you see suggestions of HTML sample code. So if you select the second one, which is HTML sample code, it will give you a sample HTML code that you can start with. All right, so because of we want it to be plain, I just wanted to show you that you can have this, but because we want it to be plain, we won't be working with most of these things in the meantime. So we're going to explain what they stand for, and then we'll move on to working with something, trying to do some coding. Now the first line, doc type HTML. Now the doc type HTML tells the browser what kind of document it is trying to interpret. Now we have different types of markup languages. Right now we have XML, HTML, a lot of them, and then even in HTML we have HTML4, HTML5. Now when you want to open a HTML document, the browser needs to understand if you want to open HTML5 or HTML4, for you to know how to interpret it. Now when you have something like this, doc type HTML, it means you are opening HTML5, right? So the browser automatically understands that it's opening HTML5, so some things can be ignored. For instance, okay, we'll get to that. So the first line is all about telling the browser what kind of document is opening. Second line is the very beginning of every document. So you must have an opening HTML tag if you want to have a complete HTML document. Yes, so even though you can just write your code without having this, but if you want to have a complete HTML document, you need to have your HTML opening tag, and then you have your HTML closing tag. So speaking of tags, HTML is a markup language, and all markup languages are being formatted using tags. What are tags? Tags are keywords that appear between opening curly bracket and closing curly bracket, and then their closing tag appear between opening closing brackets, angle bracket, not curly bracket. So we have the opening angle bracket and then closing angle bracket, and then we have the closing one, closing angle bracket / the keyword, and then the other stuff. Now tags are just bunch of keywords that are in between the angle brackets, right? Now for HTML, we have the HTML keyword, which signifies the beginning of every HTML document, and then we have the closing part of it, which is this less than sign / HTML greater than sign. So this one signifies the closing of the HTML document. Inside every HTML document, there is usually two sections. We have the head section, which is this we have here now. We have the head section, and then we have the body section, right? Now the head section contains everything that you want to be part of the document that doesn't need to show inside the page, but will help to format the document or influence how devices interact with the page. So for instance, we have this meta tag. Meta tag tells the browser that it is dealing with UTF-8 character set. This character set meta tells the browser that it's dealing with UTF-8 character set. Now this meta has its own stuff it does, tries to make the page compatible with some browsers. So for instance, this particular page now will be compatible with Edge. If you are on Windows, we have the Edge. It will be compatible with Edge. Now we have the title tag. The title tag is used for giving the page a title. So for instance, let me open the browser again. So this place we have new tab. On top here we have new tab here. So this new tab now is the title of this particular page. So if let's say let me inspect this page again and go to the head and check the title. So let's go to the top, HTML head. Inside the head, see the title. So see that the title has a content of new tab. So the title here is what? New tab. That's why you have new tab on top here. So anything you put in between this title tag will appear on top here. Alright, so after that we have the meta for viewport meta. Now what this one does is it helps to zoom in the page to full screen. So yeah, it helps to scale the page to full screen for it to show very well. We are not dealing with this one right now, we will delete all the things. Then the link is used for bringing in an external style sheet. So in CSS we have three ways of putting styles in your HTML. We have inline, internal, and external. So you use this to bring in an external style sheet. Now we have the script tag too. The script tag that has an src is used to bring in an external JavaScript file. If you do not wish to bring in an external JavaScript style, you don't need an src, and you can write your scripts here. You can write your script code here. Anything you want to write, you can write it. You just write inside here. Alright, so with that said, I'm going to remove the whole of this, most of these things. I think I'll just leave only the title, because that is just what matters. So before I remove this meta, let me explain what I wanted to explain about HTML5 and HTML4. Now in HTML5, you can have a tag that doesn't have a closing. Now HTML is a markup language, and markup languages always want you to have an opening tag and a closing tag, or you can have a self-closing tag. A self-closing tag is a tag that closes at the end like this. So say for instance, this meta now has slash this at the end. So this is a self-closing tag. So you don't need to have something like let's say we have this. You don't need to have something like meta here for you to close the meta tag, right? So meta is an example of tag that needs to be self-closed like this. So if you're dealing with HTML5, you can decide not to close it. It will work fine. But for HTML4, it is always advised to have the self-closing indication here. And even in HTML5, if you have it, it doesn't spoil anything, it doesn't change anything. So basically I love to have my closing tags in every document as it's supposed to be. So that is that about the stuff. And then HTML5 has some new keywords, some new tags that are not available in HTML4 and before. Alright, so inside the head we have this title. Now I'm going to do something. I'm going to remove all the white spaces in the document. Let's see. Okay, let everything appear on one line. Now if I run this on my browser, it will still run fine. Do you know why? Because HTML doesn't care whether you have spaces or you don't have spaces, right? HTML cares about the correctness of your code, not whether it has spaces or not. Now the reason why you have spaces in your code is for readability, right? It's for readability. It doesn't mean that the code will not run. So even if you have all your code on one line, no matter how long the line is, it will still run as long as it is in correct order. So that is it. So for you to put the lines here, remember we said that you can have formatting inside your code editor. So if I right click on this document now, I will see format documents. So clicking on format documents will automatically format the documents in a human readable format so that you can easily look at it and understand what is going on, right? So the bulk of your code that you'll be writing will be inside the body tag. It will be inside the body tag. So in the next video, we'll start fleshing out some designs inside the body tag. So see you in the next video.